We have some super sketchy organizations with some deep, dark money operating right here in Kansas City. That's what we have going on. It's 6:34 on a Wednesday morning here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. And if you're just getting going this morning, make sure you pull us up on the iHeart or TuneIn apps. Super easy way to listen as you get your morning started. So yesterday, Channel 9 had this report, and I was laughing. Actually, John and I were laughing. We didn't know that we were both going to get a kick out of this. But there were a bunch of people protesting yesterday in Kansas City, Missouri. And they were demonstrating against ICE enforcement policies and what they describe as a growing community fear. So there were two big events yesterday in town on this issue. One was downtown. And KMBC had some of that reporting, and then we'll take you after that to Shawnee. Let's start downtown where this happened.
Not let ICE come into our city and brutalize our neighbors.
Demonstrators say history is made in the streets. They believe their protests caused the city council to block any new ICE detention centers from being built in Kansas City.
I don't think they were going to do that without all the people out here who have done all this work to make sure people know that ICE is not welcome.
So a bunch of things stood out to me. First off, to say that it's a done deal that ICE is not building its detention center in Kansas City is inaccurate. The city just passed a moratorium, which they may not be on great legal ground with, claiming that ICE cannot build its facility or use the facility in South Kansas City as an ICE detention center. It remains to be seen as to whether or not that's going to happen. And then you have that protester who says to Channel 9, hey, none of this would have happened without us. City council acted because we were fired up and we told them we don't want ICE here. Yeah. The Kansas City, Missouri City Council, which voted 12-1 on this moratorium, needed to have a couple of dozen knuckleheads standing on the street corner of 12th and Oak to go ahead and pass this moratorium last week. Please. They were chomping at the bit to do it. Everybody knows that. They were looking to virtue signal as much as they possibly could. That's a fact. And then the most hysterical part of the downtown clip was that the guy that was quoted there at the end as saying they couldn't have done it without us, that dude was in the videos we were playing last week. It was one of the same three protesters they interviewed last week on the news. Same guy. I recognized him right away.
Yeah, the Western Division's communications manager, I think he is.
Yeah.
He does stuff west of the Mississippi.
Oh,
in
my
between
gosh.
here and the Rockies, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be his region. I mean, it was the same dude from last week who was like, we're standing up, we're fighting the good fight. It's like this guy, he's practicing in the mirror. I can tell, I know he is. So that was downtown, where, they're going to wake up this morning with sore backs because they were too busy patting themselves on the back. And then we'll go out to Shawnee, where in Shawnee, there was an organization, Boots on the Ground Midwest, where Nancy Mays, the co-founder, held a little event yesterday where they were basically educating people in their eyes about their rights, including the right to film ICE agents, asking for warrants and refusing to sign documents. You have an organization that is trying to train Mini Renee Goods, which is dangerous for everybody. It's dangerous for ICE agents potentially being in Kansas City, and it's dangerous for private citizens. They're encouraging and potentially teaching people how to basically take their activism to the point of vigilantism. That's what they're doing, and this is what it sounded like on Channel 9.
Across the state line in Shawnee, hundreds more show up in support of immigrants.
We have had such a huge demand for this. This is the second training we've done this week where we had more than 200 people.
You have the right to record interactions with law enforcement officers.
Nancy Mays of Boots on the Ground Midwest says 400 other people are on a wait list for this training.
It really is all of our duty to not be helpless or hopeless and actually learn what we can do to help our neighbors.
So don't say anything.
The nonprofit wants people to know their rights, that they can film ICE, that they can ask for a warrant, and that they don't need to sign anything.
Information is important. People are being targeted. They're scared.
People say there's better outcomes when people are better informed.
Anytime you have gangs of masked, armed men patrolling a neighborhood and taking people without any immunity, that doesn't create a safe feeling for any neighborhood.
You know what sticks out to me there? The way that she frames it. Masked men. In a room that is overwhelmingly female, by the way. I know you can't see that when you're listening on the radio, but this room in Shawnee yesterday, this Boots on the Ground Midwest organization was putting on to basically teach people how to protest ICE, how to potentially impede on ICE, how they can film ICE. The way they frame it, masked men. You know, there are female ICE agents, too. It's about 15% of ICE that is female. But when you make it sound, the masked men, the men, that's a big part of the pitch that they're driving home here, John.
I see what you're saying.
You know?
Well, perhaps they could haul their rather ample derrieres down to downtown and practice guarding some garages and getting your phones out and saying something when you see something, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
Civic good?
Yeah,
Put
sure.
that into practice here?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you go to some of the high-crime areas of Kansas City on the east side and stand there at 2, 3 in the morning, and you can help out KCPD when it comes to solving some of the crimes that are happening there now.
It's just that I don't have an appointment on Truce.
I know.
See, I do have an appointment out here in Quivira.
There's a Starbucks right around the corner.
Yeah.
I can run in there, use the bathroom. They don't have a lot of those over off Truce, right? So I don't know.
You go down Independence Avenue, you're going to have to walk a ways.
Exactly. So this Boots on the Ground Midwest is an organization that was established after Donald Trump won his second term last year. And it is part of the Indivisible network of activist groups. So this is a left-wing activist organization that is likely accepting money from the Indivisible Project, which is a 501c4 tax-exempt organization headquartered in Washington, D.C., which was developed with a practical guide for resisting the Trump agenda. That's literally the point of the entire organization. It's not about finding good policy or finding areas of agreement. That's not the point of any of this. The point of this is literally just to oppose anything that President Trump is doing. And that's where it's groups like this that they don't even think for themselves. Don't get me wrong, there was plenty during the Joe Biden years, most of it that I disagreed with. But it wasn't just this blind, oh my gosh, Joe Biden coughed today, so this must be the worst thing in the world. There's no nuance to any of this. But that's not what they do. When the politics are your religion, this is how you end up in this kind of TDS space where anything the guy does has to be the worst thing in the world. And this indivisible group and organization includes Democratic Socialists of America, ACLU, MoveOn.org, Planned Parenthood. All of these groups are tied together, including this group that had 200 people out in Shawnee last night, Boots on the Ground Midwest. It's all part of the same web, John.
Boots on the Ground Midwest sounds intimidating, but it's really just Uggs on the Zoysia in the burbs, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is, man. I mean, it was not a very intimidating group yesterday. Okay? It wasn't. Just looking at the news reports. It was not intimidating whatsoever. But you know what is intimidating? The wallets. The funding. That is intimidating, especially when you think about how these are not your traditional grassroots organizations. They're not. These are well-funded, Washington, D.C., top-down operations that are rolling in dough and are clearly trying to push an anti-America narrative. When you're involved with Move On and all these different, Democratic Socialist organizations, they're not looking out for Kansas City first. They're not looking out for Shawnee first. It is top-down stuff coming from D.C. and even higher than that.